Yes? Americans can move to Mexico. In fact, more Americans already live in Mexico than in any other country on Earth. Save this video and grab something to write with. Let's get into it. Why Americans are choosing Mexico. Before we get into the how, let's talk about the why. Because the numbers here are genuinely staggering. And the flow is accelerating, not slowing down. Here is what is driving it. Proximity. Mexico shares a 2,000-mile border with the United States. Direct flights connect virtually every major US city to multiple Mexican destinations. You can be in Mexico City in under 3 hours from most of the country. For Americans who want to stay connected to family in the US, Mexico is by far the most accessible international relocation option available. Cost of living. Mexico is 60 to 80% cheaper than the United States. A retired couple can live very well in cities like Mérida, Guadalajara, or Oaxaca. Healthcare. Mexico has become the world's second most popular destination for medical tourism. Private healthcare costs 50 to 70% less than equivalent treatment in the US. And legal residents can access the IMSS public healthcare system for an annual fee that starts around $750 a year in your 50s and rises to approximately $1,000 a year in your 60s. We cover healthcare in full detail in Part 2, Language and Culture. In the major expat cities, Mexico City, Puerto Vallarta, San Miguel de Allende, Mérida, English is widely spoken in expat neighborhoods, international hospitals, and tourist zones. Even basic conversational Spanish transforms the experience. Familiarity. Mexico is not a cultural leap for most Americans the way Europe or Asia might be. American brands, American products, American infrastructure, all present. Costco, Walmart, and Home Depot all operate in Mexico. Netflix, Spotify, and Amazon Prime all work. For Americans making their first international move, Mexico offers a genuinely lower adjustment curve than most destinations. The 2 visa pathways for Americans. Mexico keeps it simple compared to some countries. There are 2 main legal pathways for Americans who want to live there long-term. Let's go through. First, the tourist permit and the 180-day reality. Americans do not need a visa to enter Mexico. As a US citizen, you can enter visa-free and stay for up to 180 days. That's 6 months, on a tourist permit called the FMM. Here is the important distinction. 180 days is not a residency pathway. It is a visitor permit. You cannot renew it by crossing the border and coming back. That border run strategy, which many digital nomads have used for years, is increasingly scrutinized by Mexican immigration authorities. It is not a reliable long-term solution, and we are not recommending it. If you want to live in Mexico legally beyond 6 months, you need a residency visa. That means either temporary resident or permanent resident. Let's cover both. Pathway 1, the temporary resident visa. This is the most popular route for Americans moving to Mexico. It is the right pathway for retirees, remote workers, and anyone planning to live in Mexico before deciding if it is a permanent move. Here is what it allows. Legal residency in Mexico for up to 4 years. The card is initially issued for 1 year and can be renewed for 1, 2, or 3 additional years. After 4 years of continuous legal residency, you can apply for permanent residency. You can open bank accounts, sign leases, and access healthcare. You cannot vote in Mexican elections. Here are the financial requirements for 2026. You need to demonstrate one of the following. 1. Income. Stable monthly income of at least $4,400 over the previous 6 months. This can be Social Security, pension income, rental income, investment income, or any combination of documented passive income. 2. Savings. A bank balance of at least $74,000 sustained over the previous 12 months. 3. Property investment. Ownership of property in Mexico worth at least $174,000. Or 4. Investment. A qualifying investment of at least $90,000 in a Mexican business or enterprise. For most American retirees and passive income earners, options 1 or 2 will be the relevant route. Other documents required: a valid US passport with at least 6 months remaining validity, a completed visa application form, proof of financial solvency, bank statements, Social Security award letter, pension documentation. A clean background. Mexico does not require a formal FBI check but reserves the right to deny applicants with serious criminal records. Passport photos. The visa application fee, currently approximately $56. Here is the step-by-step process. Step 1. Apply at a Mexican consulate in the United States before you travel. You must apply in person at the consulate closest to your current US address. There are Mexican consulates in over 50 US cities. Book your appointment online at the consulate's website. Wait times vary by location. Step 2. Attend your consulate appointment. Bring all documents. Pay the visa fee. If approved, you receive a visa sticker in your passport valid for approximately 180 days. Step 3. Travel to Mexico within the validity of your visa. Step 4. Within 30 days of arriving in Mexico, this is a critical deadline, you must visit your local INM office. INM is Mexico's National Immigration Institute. This is where your consulate visa is exchanged for your actual resident card, the Tarjeta de Residencia Temporal. Bring your passport, your visa, proof of address in Mexico, and approximately $620 for the card fee. Important: Mexico doubled its INM residency fees in 2026. Budget for higher renewal costs in subsequent years and verify current fees at gobi.mx/INM before you apply. Step 5. Your resident card is issued at the INM office. In some locations, this is same day. In others, it takes 1 to 2 weeks. Renewal process. 30 to 60 days before your card expires, return to INM to apply for renewal. You will need to show continued financial solvency. After 4 cumulative years, you can apply to convert to permanent residency. Pathway 2. The permanent resident visa. Permanent residency in Mexico is the end state most Americans are working toward. It gives you the right to live in Mexico indefinitely. No renewals, no expiry date. You can work for Mexican employers without a separate work permit. You can access all public services available to legal residents. There are 2 routes to permanent residency. Route 1, through temporary residency. After 4 continuous years of legal residency on a temporary resident visa, you can apply directly to convert to permanent residency at your local INM office. This is the most common route for Americans. Route 2, direct permanent residency. You can apply for permanent residency directly, without going through temporary first, if you meet significantly higher financial thresholds. As of 2026, direct permanent residency requires demonstrating approximately $7,400 of monthly income or a savings balance of approximately $300,000. Mexican consulates only issue direct permanent residency visas to people who are considered retired, meaning income from pension, Social Security, or investments, not active employment. What permanent residency gives you? The right to live in Mexico indefinitely. The right to work for Mexican employers without a separate permit. Access to EMS voluntary enrollment for healthcare. No annual renewal requirements. A pathway to Mexican citizenship after 5 years of legal residency. Mexico permits dual citizenship. You keep your US passport. The digital nomad gray area. The honest picture. Thousands of Americans work remotely from Mexico on tourist permits. They work for US employers, earn US income, and live in Mexico on the 180-day FMM. Mexico's immigration law is genuinely ambiguous on this point. You are not working in Mexico in the traditional sense. No Mexican employer, no Mexican clients, no Mexican source income. But you are also not strictly a tourist. The practical reality in 2026. Most remote workers do this without issue in expat-heavy cities. Immigration enforcement in practice focuses on people working for Mexican employers without work authorization, not on remote workers earning foreign income. But here is the honest advice. If you are planning to live in Mexico long-term and work remotely, get the temporary resident visa. It is a more secure legal position. It gives you access to banking, healthcare, and services that tourist status does not. And it removes any ambiguity about your right to be there. The income threshold of $4,400 a month is achievable for most remote workers, and the process is straightforward. Taxes. The honest picture for Americans in Mexico. Same rule applies here as everywhere else in this series. Moving abroad does not end your US tax obligations. The United States taxes its citizens on worldwide income regardless of where they live. Moving to Mexico means filing in both countries. Let's go through what that actually means. Your US tax obligations stay. You still file a US federal tax return every year. You still report foreign bank accounts over $10,000. That is the FBAR filing. You still comply with FATCA reporting requirements for foreign financial assets above $200,000 for single filers abroad. None of that changes by moving to Mexico. The foreign earned income exclusion. The good news. Here is where Mexico offers a significant advantage over some other countries. The foreign earned income exclusion, the FEIE, allows qualifying Americans to exclude the first $132,900 of foreign earned income from US federal taxes in 2026. That covers wages, salary, and self-employment income, not passive income. To qualify, you need to either spend 330 days outside the US in any consecutive 12-month period. That is the physical presence test. Or establish bona fide residency in Mexico for a full calendar year. That is the bona fide residence test. Most remote workers and self-employed Americans in Mexico use the FEIE to eliminate or dramatically reduce their US federal tax liability. For income above the exclusion limit, the foreign tax credit provides a dollar-for-dollar credit for Mexican taxes paid against any remaining US liability. Mexican tax. What you owe in Mexico. Once you spend more than 183 days in Mexico in a calendar year, you become a Mexican tax resident. Mexico taxes residents on worldwide income at progressive rates ranging from 1.92% to 35%, depending on income level. You will need to register with SAT, Mexico's tax authority, and obtain an RFC, which is Mexico's tax identification number. Think of the RFC as Mexico's equivalent of a social security number for tax purposes. It is required to open bank accounts, sign rental contracts, and file tax returns. You register at a SAT office with your passport, residency card, and proof of address. The US-Mexico Tax Treaty, in force since 1994, prevents most cases of genuine double taxation. US Social Security income is exempt from Mexican tax under the treaty. Most Americans in Mexico do not pay tax twice, but they do file twice. The fideicomiso, the property ownership issue. Here is something most Mexico videos never mention, and it matters if you plan to buy property. Foreign nationals cannot directly own property in Mexico's restricted zone. The restricted zone covers land within 50 kilometers of any coastline and 100 kilometers of any international border. This includes virtually every popular beach destination: Puerto Vallarta, Playa del Carmen, Los Cabos, Cancun, and Tulum. To buy property in these areas, Americans use a fideicomiso, a bank trust where a Mexican bank holds title on your behalf. You have full ownership rights. You can sell, rent, renovate, or bequeath the property. The bank simply holds the legal title. Setting up a fideicomiso costs approximately $500. Annual fees run $400 to $500 per year. The trust is renewable every 50 years. For Americans buying outside the restricted zone, in cities like Mexico City, San Miguel de Allende, Querétaro, or Guadalajara, direct foreign ownership is permitted. One additional reporting requirement: Americans who own property through a fideicomiso may have additional IRS reporting obligations. The fideicomiso is a trust arrangement and may require reporting on Form 3520 or other foreign trust disclosure forms depending on your specific situation. Get a US expat tax specialist involved before you buy Mexican property, not after. No Social Security totalization agreement. One important gap in the US-Mexico tax relationship. As of 2026, the United States and Mexico do not have a Social Security totalization agreement in force. A 2004 agreement was signed but has not been enforced. This means self-employed Americans working in Mexico may owe both US self-employment tax and Mexican IMSS contributions simultaneously. For employees working remotely for US employers, this is less of an issue. For freelancers and self-employed Americans, get professional tax advice early. The safety question. The honest framework. This is the section most Mexico videos either sensationalize or dismiss entirely. We are going to do neither. Mexico is not uniformly safe or uniformly dangerous. It is a country of 130 million people, 31 states, and thousands of cities and towns, each with its own distinct character and safety profile. Judging all of Mexico based on its most troubled regions would be like avoiding the entire United States because of high crime rates in certain cities. That framing is not useful for someone trying to make a real decision. Here is what is actually true. 1.6 million Americans live in Mexico right now. Most of them are living normal, comfortable, safe daily lives. They go to the market, eat at restaurants, take taxis, make friends. Most of them will never encounter the cartel violence that dominates the headlines. At the same time, the US State Department issues travel advisories for Mexico. Some states are rated Do Not Travel, the same rating as active conflict zones. Those advisories exist for real reasons and should not be dismissed. Specific areas of Mexico have genuine, serious safety problems. The key insight for Americans considering a move is this: location selection matters more in Mexico than almost anywhere else in this series. The difference between choosing Mérida and choosing a border city is not a minor lifestyle preference. It is a fundamentally different safety environment. Here are the cities that consistently rank as the safest for American expats in 2026. We will go deeper on each of them in Part 2, but here is the framework. Mérida, consistently ranked the safest large city in Mexico. Located in the Yucatan Peninsula, one of the most stable states in the country. The Yucatan state has no US State Department travel warning. Over 70% of residents report feeling safe walking alone in their neighborhoods. Large and growing expat community. Excellent infrastructure. Colonial architecture. Strong Mayan cultural heritage. Direct flights to major US cities. San Miguel de Allende. Over 8,000 American and Canadian expats live here. A UNESCO World Heritage colonial city in the highlands of central Mexico. Consistently described as safer than many US cities by expats who live there. Strong arts community, world-class restaurants, and a deeply established expat infrastructure. Puerto Vallarta. Tens of thousands of Americans live here full-time. Active English-speaking expat community. The Romantic Zone, Marina Vallarta, and Centro are well-established expat neighborhoods. Beach lifestyle with solid infrastructure and direct US flights. Lake Chapala and Ajijic, one of the largest American retirement community in the world. Located 45 minutes south of Guadalajara. Tens of thousands of American and Canadian retirees have lived here for decades. Mild year-round climate. Very low cost of living. Strong English-speaking services. Querétaro, one of the safest cities in Mexico overall. A growing tech and industrial hub. Modern infrastructure. Less expat-heavy than the other cities on this list. More authentic local experience. Mexico City, Roma, Condesa, Polanco, and Coyoacán neighborhoods specifically. These areas are comparable in safety to expat neighborhoods in any major Western city. World-class restaurants, hospitals, culture, and infrastructure. Safety in Mexico City is entirely a question of neighborhood selection. The areas Americans and expats live in are very different from the areas that generate the crime statistics. The US State Department Advisory System. Mexico uses a state-by-state advisory system with 4 levels. Level 1, exercise normal precautions. Level 2, exercise increased caution. Level 3, reconsider travel. Level 4, do not travel. As of 2026, states like Yucatan and Campeche, home to Merida, carry Level 1 advisories. States like Jalisco, home to Guadalajara and Puerto Vallarta, carry Level 3 advisories for specific regions, while the expat-heavy areas within those states are considered significantly safer. Several border states and certain Pacific Coast regions carry Level 4 advisories. Before you choose a city in Mexico, check the current State Department advisory for that specific state at travel.state.gov, Practical Safety Framework for Daily Life. Choose your city carefully, and within your city, choose your neighborhood carefully. The research you do before you arrive is more valuable than any precaution you take after. Learn basic Spanish. Not fluency, basic conversational Spanish. Being able to communicate directly with people around you reduces vulnerability and increases your ability to navigate situations. Use registered rideshare or reputable taxi services. Uber operates widely in Mexican cities and is generally considered safer than street taxis. In cities where Uber is restricted, use regulated taxi stands rather than hailing from the street. Avoid displaying expensive items publicly. This is standard advice in virtually every major city in the world, but it matters more in some parts of Mexico than others. Stay aware of your surroundings at night. Most expats in Mexico operate with the same awareness they would in any large city. The areas where tourists and expats live and socialize are generally well policed. Avoid unfamiliar neighborhoods at night, especially outside of established expat zones. Register with the US Embassy. The Smart Traveler Enrollment Program, STEP, is free. It registers you with the nearest US Embassy or consulate and ensures you receive safety alerts and can be located in an emergency. Go to step.state.gov to register. Connect with the expat community before and after you arrive. The Americans who have been living in your chosen city for years have neighborhood-specific, current, practical knowledge that no travel advisory or article can replicate. Use them. Who Mexico is right for, and who it isn't. Right for you if you want to stay close to the United States. Direct flights, familiar products, familiar culture. Mexico is the lowest friction international move available to most Americans. You are living on Social Security or pension income. The average Social Security payment covers a comfortable lifestyle in most Mexican cities outside of premium coastal neighborhoods. The value difference compared to staying in the US is dramatic. Your passive income or savings meet the temporary resident threshold. $4,400 a month in income or $74,000 in savings. Those are real but achievable numbers for most Americans planning a retirement move. You want the largest established American expat community in the world. The infrastructure, English-speaking doctors, lawyers, financial advisors, expat social clubs, English language services, is more developed in Mexico than in any other expat destination on this list. You are open to learning Spanish. Not required for daily life in major expat cities, but transformative for your quality of life and sense of belonging. Not right for you if safety is your primary concern and you are not willing to do the city-level research. Mexico's safety picture is nuanced, but it is real. If you want to move somewhere and not think about it at all, Portugal or the Algarve offers a more uniformly low-risk environment. Mexico rewards informed location selection. It punishes lazy location selection. You are not willing to learn any Spanish. You can get by in the major expat cities, but you will always feel like a visitor. The depth of experience available to Spanish speakers in Mexico is simply not available to English-only expats. You need Medicare to cover your healthcare. Medicare generally does not cover care outside the United States. Most American retirees in Mexico either fly back for major procedures, buy private Mexican insurance, or use IAMS as a supplement. If Medicare is your only viable healthcare option, factor this in carefully. You want a European lifestyle. Mexico is not Europe. The infrastructure, the bureaucracy, the pace, the culture, all genuinely different. Mexico rewards people who embrace what it actually is, not people who want it to be something else. This is part 1 of the Complete Mexico Guide. Where are you in the process? Drop it in the comments, subscribe for more, and grab the free reference sheet. Link in the description. Until next time, safe travels.